Um, Man, I've got to be honest with you guys. I didn't expect this. You know, I go down rabbit holes all the time. Aliens, ancient civilizations, mushrooms, quantum mechanics, you name it. But recently I started reading about Islam and I was shocked, like genuinely shocked, because I thought I knew what it was about, right? You hear stuff in the media, you get the stereotypes, the headlines, and you form this kind of surface level picture. But when I actually sat down and dug into it, I kept finding these little gems, these principles that hit me harder than I ever expected. And I was sitting there like, wait a minute, how come nobody told me this side of it? It's not just a religion. It's like a whole operating system for being a human being. And the craziest part is some of these things align perfectly with stuff we're only now figuring out with modern science, psychology, and human optimization. That blew my mind. So I want to share with you the 5 things that absolutely fascinated me about Islam. And I don't mean fascinated in like a tourist way. I mean like these things hit me in the gut and made me reflect on my own life. The first one that really grabbed me was the discipline of daily prayers. 5 times a day. Think about that. Imagine in the middle of your day, emails, phone calls, stress, whatever, you literally stop, put everything aside, and center yourself. You go through this physical routine, almost like yoga, but tied to this deep spiritual intention. That's discipline, but it's also balance. Because I've had days where I get lost in this endless stream of stuff. And it's like, by the end of it, my brain feels fried. Imagine if you had 5 checkpoints built into your day where you just reconnect. Neuroscience tells us that the brain thrives on patterns, and mindfulness is proven to reduce stress and improve focus. And these guys had it figured out centuries ago. It's wild. Then there's fasting during Ramadan. This one really messed with me in a good way. You know how much I love intermittent fasting, right? I've had nutrition experts and doctors on the podcast breaking down all the benefits. Autophagy, insulin, sensitivity, mental clarity. Well, Muslims have been doing this for over 1,000 years. Not for just health reasons, but for spiritual ones too. No food, no water, from sunrise to sunset, every day for a month. That's hardcore. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the body. It's about the soul. It's about controlling desire, breaking habits, learning discipline on a whole different level. And I thought, man, that's powerful. Because in our modern world, we're constantly bombarded ads, dopamine hits, endless stimulation. Imagine unplugging from all that and saying, no, I control my impulses, they don't control me. That's freedom. That's something we don't talk about enough when we're just chasing hacks and shortcuts. And the third thing that really stood out to me was charity Zakat, they call it. It's not optional. If you have wealth, you have to give a percentage back to the community. That's baked into the system. And it's not just about writing a check so you can feel good about yourself. It's structured, it's disciplined, it's consistent. Think about how different our society would look if every single person who had more than they needed gave back regularly, no questions asked. We talk a lot about inequality, about the wealth gap, about billionaires hoarding resources. Here's a system that literally says, nope, you share. That's the rule. That's fascinating to me because it's like an enforced empathy. And it made me reflect on how much happier I feel when I do something generous. Even small stuff. There's real science on that. Giving activates the brain's reward system. So here's another example of an ancient practice that modern psychology is just catching up with. Now, the fourth thing is something I actually felt when I went to UFC fights in Abu Dhabi. The unity and brotherhood. It's different when Muslims meet each other. It doesn't matter if you're Arab, African, Asian, American. There's this instant bond. Like, you're my brother, you're my sister. And it's real. I mean, think about how divided we are right now in the West. Politics, race, identity. Everybody's in their little camp. But in Islam, there's this core idea that you're part of one big family, one ummah. And when I learned about the pilgrimage to Mecca, millions of people dressed the same, standing shoulder to shoulder, no VIP section, no rich versus poor. That blew my mind. That's the opposite of ego. That's unity in its purest form. And it made me wonder, what if we had more of that spirit in our own culture? How different would the world feel if we saw each other first as human beings, not as categories or labels? And the fifth one, maybe the heaviest of them all, is the clarity Islam gives about life, death, and purpose. This one got under my skin in a way I didn't expect. Because, let's be honest, death is the big elephant in the room for all of us. We avoid it. We distract ourselves. We try to biohack our way into eternal youth. But Islam lays it out straight. This life is temporary. Death is not the end. And what you do here matters for what comes next. There's no vagueness about it. And I thought, that's such a powerful lens to live through. Because if you actually believe that, it changes everything. Suddenly, your choices carry weight, your time means more, your ego doesn't run the show, and whether you believe it or not, just contemplating that perspective can ground you in a way that's deeply humbling. What hit me the most is how these 5 things, prayer, fasting, charity, unity, and clarity of purpose, are all interconnected. They're not random rituals. They're like a system designed to tune the human being, body, and mind. Daily prayer keeps you centered. Fasting teaches self-control. Charity forces empathy. Unity breaks down ego. And clarity of purpose gives you direction. It's like a full spectrum upgrade for the human experience. And I couldn't help but laugh at myself a little, because here we are in the modern world spending billions of dollars researching wellness, psychology, personal development, and these guys had a blueprint for it over 1,000 years ago. No, I'm not saying I'm converting or anything like that. That's not what this is about. What I'm saying is I'm fascinated, I'm humbled, and I think there's a lot we can learn if we just step outside of our echo chambers and actually look at what people have been practicing and believing for centuries. Because at the end of the day, humans are searching for the same things: peace, purpose, connection, health, meaning. And Islam, in its core principles, speaks to that in a way that I can't just ignore. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to share. I went in curious. I came out kind of shaken in a good way. And now I'm left with this big question: what else are we missing? Because we're too busy judging things from the outside instead of really digging in. That's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. And honestly, I think it's worth all of us taking a moment to reflect on, because if there's wisdom out there, hidden in plain sight, it'd be crazy not to at least listen.